So as you can see, I'm already halfway through armouring up. So I've started off with some very tightly fitted hose, so you don't want too much extra material under fitted leg armour. I've got a doublet, which is covered in laces, and the laces are what support the weight of the armour. The idea being, if it's tied, all the weight is on the midriff, so I move my arms and I'm not lifting the legs as well, which is what would happen if you're in a t-shirt. So, starting from the bottom here, I've got greaves, which are pretty, they don't change a great deal over the century. They're pretty greavy, yeah. They don't change much over the centuries, just because it's the shape of your calf muscle. They're meant to support themselves, sort of, actually just by sitting over the muscle. We then got the cuisses and pollines, so thigh and leg defences. They are tied up to the doublet, that's what supports the weight. To cover the gap, there's a male skirt. Quite often people wear sort of male hot pants as well, called a brayette, which are really classy items, we just don't have enough of them yet. So you can layer up the areas that you can't cover with plate. Moving up, I've got a brigandine. So the brigandine is a fabric jacket, which is basically full of plates that have been riveted to the inside. Quite often if you see things like studded leather on fantasy or TV shows or something like that, it's because they've looked at a picture of a brig and didn't realise that there were plates in there. Okay, moving on, I've got the arm harness. So this is quite a German style. So we've got spalder, coulter, band brace, I suppose rear brace as well. This, you get different types. This type is all connected on leathers on the inside. You get other types where they're solidly riveted together. Moving on from there, we've got gauntlets. Excuse the tangle of gloves. Again, very much a German style. If I untangled that, that would be better. So, yeah, again, very much a German style with a lot of fluting, decoration, that kind of thing. Moving on, we've then got the feather, which is the bottom half of the helmet. The idea being, that is what stops your throat getting cut, which is a very important thing on the field. For ventilation, I can clip that down, but it's still restrictive. Then the final bit, we've got a sallet. There are lots of types of sallet. Again, this is one with a fixed visor rather than a raising one, which is pretty self-explanatory. And it can take one hell of a beating, as you can see. Other than that, we've just got the sword belt, which is held up at 3 points so it doesn't flap around too much. And then I'll have some kind of pole arm to fight with. The sword is just there as a backup for when and if the pole arm breaks.
Arrows, can you stop arrows or not?
I would be reasonably confident that if a warbow arrow hit most of the plate I've got, it would probably get deflected and ping off. But what would happen is there are always going to be gaps. If it hits the male, if it hit me there,
yes,
it would end up going in. It can go in there. There's no way I would confidently stand in front of ranks of archers and say, I'm invincible. And that is why the archers are still effective, even if they don't pierce plate every time.
So what do? You just had to march through it?
Pretty much. So the idea is, say at Agincourt, they were sliding their way up a slope. There's so much mud and everything. Instead of getting one solid, coherent charge, they were basically putting their heads down, and rather than forming up in a rank, you just got to get there quickly.
Yeah.
And so they were bleeding from various places. This eyewitness account saying, by the time I got to the English, I was already cut various places from arrows, but they could still fight. So it didn't make them invincible, but they weren't dead.
And what rank are you? You're a noble, are you? Or?
It's a bit ambiguous, I guess. I suppose just a reasonably well-to-do man-at-arms. I'm not claiming any kind of rank, any social rank. So I don't have a livery or even a heraldry of my own.